Sorry, folks. Got hit with fall allergies this week pretty hard, and I'm still kind of stuffy. So, I usually post my new content on Wednesdays, but as Chris Chan's preliminary hearing was scheduled for Thursday morning, I wanted to wait and make my main video of the week until after that had happened, so I would have time to collect my thoughts and react to whatever events took place. Now, that hearing has received a continuance, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, the same way I talked about the arrest last week, as that was a pretext to talk about disabled and trans issues. I'm going to use the hearing to talk about the issue of specifically disability in the justice system. So, backing up here a little bit. Hi, I'm Tommy. I'm a data scientist. I work on fossil databases for a living. I'm interested in disability rights. I'm basically the postmodern neo-Marxist soy boy cuck that takes up the penthouse suite rent-free in Jordan Peterson's brain. Christine Chandler, better known by her social media handle Chris Chan, is a controversial internet personality who is also an autistic trans woman with some significant support needs. Recently, Chris was arrested after a recording surfaced appearing to depict Chris Chan allegedly confessing to having sex with her 80-year-old mother who has dementia. She had an arraignment hearing back in August, remanded to custody without bail, and was supposed to have a hearing Thursday morning, but that hearing has received a continuance until November. Part 1. What the continuance means for Chris's trial. So, quick story. I'm in the 4th year of my PhD right now, and technically my doctorate is going to be in earth and environmental science. But at undergrad, I was a dual major in the life sciences and in philosophy, which at my university was essentially a pre-law track as well. So at one point, I actually considered becoming a patent lawyer, and I did a semester of law school. Now, I absolutely hated that, so I've gone back to conventional science. I got into computational ecology, which is how I ended up with my current job and doctoral posting. So while what I'm going to say next is wild speculation and absolutely a lay opinion, it is an educated lay opinion and educated speculation, I guess. So we know this case has been transferred from criminal court to juvenile and domestic court, and the continuance and venue change, like these are completely normal processes of our legal system that happen all the time. But these two events, combined with statements from Chandler's lawyer, and just a feel for how prosecutors' mind works, my intuition is that this case will never see trial. Probably it'll end in a plea bargain, but there's an outside chance that the charges will be dropped altogether. There are so many issues with the quality of evidence in this case and the murky question of Chris's competence to have confessed at all. My guess is the prosecutors won't want to deal with this mess for any longer than absolutely necessary. But ultimately, we won't know until November and when the case continues, unless we get an announcement before then. So let's switch to what I really wanted to cover, part 2, news coverage of the case. I said last episode I was sort of concerned with the possibility of ableist and transphobic rhetoric this story would foment in the media. Fortunately, I haven't been able to really discern any ableist language regarding Chris's autism in coverage of the story, which is good. In fact, most of the coverage that mentioned this story failed to mention Chris's autism at all. which I feel could potentially bias a reader who doesn't know that context. And there is definitely some context to be had at the intersection of people with neurological differences and law enforcement. Autistic people, and especially autistic black people, are likely to be misunderstood by the justice system and law enforcement, and often to tragic ends, to shootings and long and frankly unjust prison sentences. So, more of the coverage has mentioned that Chris is a trans woman. And other than the initial transphobic coverage from the usual suspects, Blair White, Tucker Carlson, most of the coverage on the trans front has consisted of inconsistent gendering in the text, which is unfortunate but kind of expected and probably not deliberate. Uh, and the coverage of Chris being put in a man's jail. And jail, of course, is distinct from prison. I'm not sure how many people know that in an American context. I know I was kind of surprised to learn that there is a difference. That was the thing I picked up in law school. Look, the issue with housing of trans people in prisons is a huge and complicated issue that we're just not going to have time for in this video, especially because my voice would give out before any of that before any of that could come to a resolution. But it's definitely something to keep in mind. But the big picture, the broad strokes is that there actually hasn't been a lot of media coverage since. It's mostly just been online, and most of it hasn't been overtly negative. So I think that for the autistic and trans communities who are both afraid of how this issue would reflect on us, it has not been quite so bad. Now, I have one more video's worth of thoughts on this whole fiasco. It's actually something I cut out of the script for last week's video. But apparently it was popular, so I'll talk about it again. But that probably won't be coming next week. I have something else I kind of want to do next week. Unless, of course, they have another announcement sometime in the middle. Probably be 2 weeks from now, and then again, nothing until November. But who knows where the winds of inspiration will take me. All right, I'm going to go take some Benadryl and go to bed now. And take care, everybody. Bye-bye.